Well, dates and times are basically serial numbers that are stored in Excel. So when we talk of serial numbers, we need to understand that it starts from 1st of January 1990. Even time is represented in decimal numbers. So you need to understand that it basically starts from 0, where you can also consider zero point 0.5 to be 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So basically 12 noon is zero point 0.5. So this is an example of how date and time is basically stored in Excel. So if we need to show it as a date or a time, we need to change the format that is present in the number formatting category or the number formatting group which is in your home tab. So why are we using date and times in Excel is because it's again an easier way on how you can actually represent your dates and times. Apart from that, we will also be looking at the functions that are actually present in the category of the date and time functions in the formula tab. So let us understand about that. We will also understand that we have dates and times formats, right? But the way we are entering data into date and time, one shortcut that I can tell you is control and semicolon. So when you use the control and the semicolon on your keyboard, it will print the time that is the system date. Sorry, the system date that is present of that is of your system. Apart from that, you have the current time. So when you want to print the current time, you use control shift and semicolon, which is basically control and colon. So that will then print the time that is of your system. So the system's date and time can be printed like this. Now again, this is going to be static. So once you print, it is done. So you basically, if you need to print the date and time again, then again you have to use the shortcut keys once again. So we can understand on how these functions can be used and what are the shortcuts to add the date and time respectively. Now moving on to date and time functions. One of the most easiest function in date and times is date. So when we use the date function, again it is converting three numbers that you add into it or three values into date format. The date format is first thing you need to enter is the year. So the year followed by the month and followed by the day. So this is the format on how you are supposed to enter it into the function and then it prints the date format. Again, if you want to change the way the date is represented, then you need to again go to your number formatting and change the formatting of the date. Now function basically again returns the date and time together when the formula is entered. Now this can also be a little dynamic date. So what happens is like right now if I print the date, after some time when something else in the sheet gets updated, the now function also gets updated along with it. So again the date and time changes. So be careful whenever you're using the now function. So that what happens is the date and time will continuously change as and when the sheet gets updated. So you need to basically remember that. Time, on the other hand, time function is just like the date function, wherein you need to add the hour, minute, and second, and then it converts it into the time format. So these are the basic date and time function. Apart from that, one more important function is the date diff. You can also look at it, it is data diff, but no, it is date diff because it calculates the difference between dates. So when we want to calculate some days, months and years between two dates, so we can do that with the help of date diff. So we have the syntax as date diff followed by the start date and end date and the criteria on what I want to calculate the difference. So we can basically understand that of course the start date has to be smaller than the end date. Always usually when we calculate a difference between numbers, the first number has to be more than the second number. But here the start date has to be smaller than the end date. So that is another point that we need to remember. So what we'll do is we'll go to Excel and we'll see on how to do the calculations and use those functions accordingly. So certain dates, months and years, and apart from that hours, minutes and seconds. So I know that if I need to combine them using the date and time functions. So we start with date. So you can see Excel again automatically tells you what are the parameters or arguments that you need to enter. So I know that it's the year, so I'll just navigate to the year. So again, you can see I'm taking the cell reference month. Give me a moment. I need to first select the year. So it's 1999, then month, then date. Let me close the bracket, press enter. There it represents the date perfectly right. I just need to drag and drop the same formulas that will again print the correct date and time. Similarly, let's go to time. Again, type time. Now again here I have to select hour. So let me just go to hour, then minute and second. Close the bracket, press enter. Now you can see the time is represented as 12:12 p.m. because again it understands that anything after 12 noon is in p.m. So I'm just going to drag and drop it down. So let's see how does the format appear. So accordingly you can see that this is 3:43 and 10 seconds. So it is represented as an AM time. The reason being that because it is before 12. So before 12 the day starts at 12 midnight. So that is why anything after 12 midnight is again represented in AM. So that is why we have it as 3 AM. Let me see if I can try to change the format. So what I can do is I can just copy the dates. Let me show you a different way on how I can represent this. I'll just copy it. I'll just paste it here in L column. But when I'm pasting it, I'm not going to paste the formulas, but I'm going to be pasting only the values of it. So when I'm pasting, I'll just right click on it. Let me take you to home. When I'm having the paste clipboard here, I just drop this down. Here I have the paste options that I have. So when I do a simple paste, it will copy the formulas. So I don't want to copy the formulas, rather I want to copy the values. Now you can see how the values are updated over here. So this is how the serial numbers are actually seen in Excel. So what I only need to do is I need to represent them in date formats. So I just need to go to the number formatting. There you have it. So this is again how you can change the formats of dates and times. Similarly, you can even change the time format as well. Let me do that for you again. So I'll just print it below. So again, not a simple paste, but I'm actually going to paste it as values. So you can see again here it is represented in decimal formats. Again, let me change the format. There you have it. Now you can see the time I've given it as a proper time. The time format as hours, minutes and seconds. So this is how you can actually use it. Similarly, again, you can go to the number formatting. So again, I'll just click on the launch button. So I'll get the number formatting dialog box. So here also you have the different types on how you want the number, the date and the time to be displayed. You can also change your locale. So depending on the country that you belong to or the time zone, you can change it according to this. So I prefer the AM PM, but I'm also going to display the second. So I'm going to change that. And then I'm going to use a format painter to again copy the same formatting for the rest of the cells. So simple. So this is how you can actually try to convert the dates and times and display it accordingly.